Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talks with Gallagher, where we have conversations that inspire and empower. Today, I have Michael Morgan, and he's obtained his Bachelor's of Science from Penn State University and his MBA from Carnegie Mellon University. Coupled with his educational background, he has over 15 years of work experience across companies such as Amazon, Walmart, JP Morgan Chase, and Chevron. His ability to build and maintain his network throughout his educational and career journey has been the fruitful in his success. He has a passion for teaching and inspiring others to achieve their goals, which led him to write the book, The Power of Networking, and begin his journey as a motivational speaker. Well, I'm just so delighted to have you on with us, Michael. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me as a guest on your show.
Yeah, my pleasure. And so, as we dive into this, can you just share just a little bit about why you wrote the book, The Power of Networking?
Yeah, so I would say over my career journey, I've had so many people reach out for tips, advice, and from the time that I graduated from Penn State and started working at JP Morgan to where I am now, people have asked me so many questions. How are you able to excel in your role? How are you able to advance in your career? How are you able to transition industries? I've moved from financial services to oil and gas to tech to retail. Now work in cybersecurity. And so many people just reached out to me. Some people within my network, some are just complete strangers that just looked me up on LinkedIn and thought my journey was interesting and wanted to ask me
Mhm.
questions. At a certain point in time, I felt as though I have a breadth of knowledge that people are seeking,
Yeah.
and I decided to put pen to paper and start to write the book. And I'd say in my opinion, the biggest thing that's led to my success in my career has been my network,
Mhm.
which is why I made that the theme and title of the book.
Yeah. Well, that's a quite a bit of transitions in your career, and there's not many people that I know that have been able to transition successfully like you have. What is one of the things that you have been able to like? What has created your success to be able to transition careers in such a successful way?
Yeah, I'll say multiple things. One, I always have a set of transferable skills. So
Mm,
I've displayed myself. I have leadership skills. I have analytical skills. I have great communication skills. I'm a team player. So I'm results oriented. So that, like, regardless of what company, what industry I'm a part of, I know that I can add value and I can show my work experience of what I've been
mm,
able to complete, and I can get that done in that specific company, that specific field. So I'd say number one is just the transferable skills has really helped me be able to navigate to different companies, different industries. Number two, when I do join a new industry, new company, I'm doing whatever I can to get up to date on that specific industry, the standards. So like today, I'm in cybersecurity. I joined an organization called Cyversity that tries to get
mm,
more diversity in cybersecurity. But that's my way of getting more up to speed on what's going on in cybersecurity and building up my skills. And now I'm looking into certifications in cybersecurity. I'm looking at
mm,
the CISSP certification, which is one of the most coveted certifications in
mm.
cybersecurity. So yes, I'm new to cybersecurity, but I'm doing everything I can to get up to date and get my knowledge in that specific industry. I worked in oil and gas, I joined Young Professionals in Energy,
Mm,
and I joined the American Association of Blacks in Energy. So I joined as many organizations as relevant to
mm,
my industry so I can get up to date. I sign up for newsletters, so I'm constantly getting new knowledge. So I'd say me putting in that effort, yes, I might be new to this industry, this function, but I can get up to speed. I will take on these additional, you know, tasks. I'll attend conferences, I'll join organizations. I'm
mm.
doing whatever I can to get my skills and knowledge up in that area. And then I'd say the third piece, I mean, it ties in with the book, but it's the power of networking.
Mhm,
If you know people that work in specific industries, specific companies, it makes that transition so much easier that I have
mm,
someone who can vouch for me, provide me with a referral, who can help me with interview preparation, because every company interviews differently. And if I have people in my network who are at that company they've already been through the interview process, can give me a heads up in preparation, tell me what to look for. Not only do I have a referral, but I also have knowledge so I know how to prepare for that interview.
Yeah, it's like being that lifelong learner, right? Constantly having that growth mindset, right? It sounds like those are some of the key principles that you're sharing regarding this. So, you have a very interesting, concept, very profound concept in your book, talking about, authentic relationships versus transactional ones. How did you come to that realization and in your, building of authentic connections in your career?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I realized this very early in my career. I've seen a lot of people look at networking as using people. Like
Mm,
I'm using someone to get a job or to get something, and then to me that's not good networking.
mm,
I'm I'm genuinely trying to build relationships. Like these are people in my network. I consider my friends. I consider my family.
mm.
I'm not just talking to people about work or what they can do for me. I'm trying to get to actually know them.
Mm,
What are your hobbies? Like what are your goals? Like how can I help you? And I think when you make a genuine connection, you show that you actually care about somebody, you're interested in their hobbies, you're interested in knowing more about their family and their kids and their partners. Like it goes such a long way and it builds a strong connection to the point where they'll naturally want to have you in their network. They'll want to do things for you because you genuinely care about them, as opposed to you looking at someone as 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 a tool that you can leverage to get your foot in the door for job opportunities or whatever have you.
mm.
So I think it makes a huge difference when you build a genuine connection as opposed to just adding people on your network and just trying to use them to get something.
Hmm. And how do you how do you decipher between that connection that's transactional versus relational? Because I think sometimes it's hard to sometimes find out if that is the case or not. So how so yeah, how do you discover what this connection is, what its intentions are?
Yeah, I try to ask as many questions as possible. I
Mm,
know when I'm adding people in my network, I'm trying to be authentic and express my intentions. Like, hey, I'm new to Austin. I'm looking to meet new people.
mm,
I'm new to the city and never lived here before, and I'll be upfront with my intentions. And
mm,
then when I try to understand other people's intentions, I'm asking them questions like, hey, like
mm.
what do you do? How can I assist you? What are you looking for? And that way I can really learn for myself what other people's intentions are as well. But I think it all goes around asking questions and just trying to dive deep into that.
Yeah, so asking the right questions. And you gave some examples there, which is helpful, I think, for people that want to apply that practically in their networking as well. So, has your career, shifts and transitions, has that shaped, or how has that shaped the way you network and connect with others?
Yeah, so it's shaped it quite a bit. So I've lived so many places because of work opportunities. So
Mm.
I'm originally from New York.
Oh, wow.
I went to school in Pennsylvania. I worked for JP Morgan in Delaware. I worked for Chevron in Houston, Texas. Worked for Amazon in Seattle, Washington. Worked for Walmart in the Bay Area of California. And now I'm with Netscope in a fully remote role, and I'm based out of Austin, Texas.
Mm,
So I've moved so many times that it's really shaped my networking where one I feel comfortable anywhere. I feel like I can live in any city, any state, any country, and
mm,
I will easily acclimate. Uh Two, within my job, it's helped me get more comfortable with networking because in
mm,
any role, you're not working on your own. You're not working in a silo. Like in my roles, I may have to work with finance, I may have to work with engineering, I may have to work with legal, I may have to work with HR.
mm,
So my ability to join a company, identify who are the key stakeholders that I need to build relationships with, who do I need to work with in order to execute my role and get the job done. Like that's been critical to my success to be able to excel in my roles.
Hmm.
And I'm not just setting up work meetings with my counterparts that I work with. I'm trying to get to know them as individuals. I'm taking them out for coffee chats. I don't
Hmm.
even drink coffee, and I take people out for coffee all the time. But it's a way for me to get to know them as an individual, for them to get to know me.
Sure.
I take people out for lunch. Right
Hmm.
now, my role's fully remote. When I was in the office 5 days a week, I made it a point to go out to lunch with somebody different, if not every week, every other week. And this is a way for me to build relationships, and that when
Hmm.
I'm working with somebody and I have to reach out and ask them for something, I'm not this random guy just saying, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" Like, oh, I've built a relationship with them,
Hmm.
and it goes a long way. And I think having that mindset has really helped me in my career and helped with my career success.
Yeah, I'm sure it has gone a long way for you, long term, as we see here. So, like, from a career standpoint, like, why did you make the change to go into cybersecurity after all of these other career experiences that you have had? Why cybersecurity now?
Yeah, so I'll say a couple of reasons. One, I've never worked for a startup. I've only
Hmm.
worked for giant companies, so obviously
Oh yeah,
Chevron, JP Morgan, Amazon.
yeah.
So it seemed like a new and exciting opportunity to be on the side of a company that's trying to IPO. It's a smaller
Hmm.
company. I mean,
Okay.
we we have 2,500 employees, so I mean it's a fairly decent sized company, but compared
Yeah.
to like an Amazon, it's a smaller company.
Sure.
So I looked at that as an opportunity to learn, do
Mm,
something new, and then cybersecurity specifically. I see this industry isn't going anywhere. I mean, the cloud isn't going
mm,
anywhere. More and more people are working remotely. Even when companies have people working, a lot of them are working hybrid. So there
mm,
are some times where like people have to work from home and they'll have to access their company's database. So and these companies they need security. You need to make sure it's secure. So the cloud isn't going anywhere. Companies need to make sure that they're protected, and when their employees are logging into their systems, they're accessing the right information and everything is secure. So it's an industry that I don't see going any away anytime soon. And I think there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of growth. And it's something different where I can continue to grow and learn, do something new, exciting. So for all those reasons, I ended up making the transition.
wow. Well, that's very courageous of you. And so, in your career journey, was there or networking journey, or your journey itself that we're talking about today with the power of networking? What is the challenge that you faced, and how did you overcome that particular challenge in your journey? We want to give practical advice here for both emerging and seasoned leaders who mostly watch this podcast. So, like, what is the challenge that you faced that you were able to overcome in your journey?
With networking specifically, or just
Just
in general?
in general, yeah, it can
Okay.
be anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the one of the biggest challenges that I've faced when I first started working at Chevron, I came in and I had all these great ideas and I started implementing changes. And when I was analyzing the results, so I tracked the data before I implemented changes, I tracked the data after, and the results were getting worse.
Mm,
And I was very confused because I knew I'd done my due diligence and I just couldn't understand, why I wasn't seeing the progress that I was expecting. And it was a challenge for me
mm,
because I was trying to understand better. Uh, and I would say two things. There's two big learnings from it that I use like now in my career moving forward. One, people don't like change. Like people are creatures of habit. So if people have been doing a process a certain way, and now you
mhm,
come in and you tell them, actually, you should do it this way, they're going to push back. Two, people want to feel involved. They want to feel a part
mm,
of the change. So to now moving forward, I'm making sure to incorporate everyone's ideas and get their feedback so we can collectively decide the best solution and path forward. So and I know some people are more intrinsic, some more extrinsic. So I'll do different. I'll implement different methods. I'll have everyone write down on a post-it note and put it on the board, or
Mm,
we'll all write our ideas on a whiteboard. But that way, we have multiple ideas and everyone's contributing, and then we'll collectively decide, okay, we have option A, we have option B, we have option C. We'll decide as a team the path forward. And
mm,
now, because we decided as a team, I'm not telling you, oh, you need to do this. We're collectively deciding, okay, this is the best path forward. And I've seen
mm,
people are more willing to commit to change when they're a part of the decision making, as opposed to just being told, oh, you shouldn't do this anymore, you should do that.
mm.
So that's been a big lesson for me, and it's been very fruitful for my career moving forward.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And you're also a motivational speaker. And so, what led you to coming into that? Why did you want to become a motivational speaker to help people in their life?
Yeah, I'll say one, I genuinely like helping people. And I mean, I help people as much as I can. I take as many phone calls, Zoom calls, emails, as much as I can do. But when I'm
Mm-hmm.
on stage speaking in front of hundreds or thousands of people, now I can get a message out to the masses as opposed to, one on one. And I'd say, you know, I it's my way to leave a legacy and give back, where I know I wouldn't be in the position I am today if it wasn't for the help and guidance and mentorship of other people.
Mm,
And I want to pay it forward. And I looked at,
yeah,
being a motivational speaker as a way where I can help other people get to, the levels that they want to get to and achieve their goals. So, it's a combination of, me just naturally enjoying helping other people. But
sure.
it's also a way for me to give back.
Yeah, is there like a particular leader that you have looked up to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
Well, is
there's a,
there like one in particular, or one or two in particular that you have found an example for in your life?
yeah, I mean, the biggest leader that I look up to is Barack. I thought he was a fantastic president, and to be able to
Mm,
see a black man in the leadership position of leading the entire country,
mm,
that
mm-hmm,
that resonates with me.
mm,
And he's just very inspirational, and
mm,
uh, I see that Barack could become president. I feel like I can do anything, and
mm,
that's motivated me to excel in my career. It's motivated me
mm,
to become a motivational speaker,
mm,
to become an author. So I'd say that's the big leader for me.
mm. That's great. That's great. So, talking about your habits and routine in your life, what is some in particular that you have found to work well in your success currently today?
Yeah, I would say one. I'm just really big on health and fitness,
Mm,
and people are surprised. Like I work out 5 days a week, but I wake up at like 6 a.m. every day. I hit the gym at 7 and I
mm,
start my work day at 8. And to
mm.
me, it gives me an energy boost.
That's
I
great.
feel invigorated once I start my day with a workout. So that's really helped me. And then two, I have a thirst for knowledge and I'm always trying to
Mm,
learn. So I know a lot of people will do their 9 to 5, and at 5 o'clock they shut down and they're like, I'm not doing anything else for the day. That's not my mindset. So I'm always
mm,
trying to take trainings. I'm trying to obtain certifications. So when I was at Chevron, I obtained a certification in contract and commercial management. I obtained a
mm.
certification, Lean Sigma Black Belt certification. When I was
Wow.
at Amazon, I obtained my project management professional certification. I
Mm,
obtained a Tableau desktop certification.
mm,
So I'm always I'm attending different conferences to learn, conferences to network. I'm going to a conference in 2 weeks called InnoTech, which is a cybersecurity conference.
mm,
I've probably been to dozens of conferences. I go to at least 1 or 2 conferences a year with every company I've ever worked, and
mm,
obviously depending on what company, what industry I am in at the time, it's different conferences have different focuses.
mhm,
But the fact that I'm constantly looking for opportunities to meet new people, to network, to grow my skill set, obtain new certifications, take on trainings. So when the workday ends at 5, 6 o'clock, it doesn't end for me. I'm
Mm.
doing more work. I'm trying to find ways to continue to learn and grow and develop and network and meet new people. So I feel I'm on from 6 a.m. to 10, 11 to the point where I'm about to go to sleep. I'm doing something.
Mm.
I'm not just sitting around watching TV or scrolling on social media. I'm trying to find ways to better
Mm.
myself. And I feel like that's been very fruitful for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it has. And so, like, keeping that, level of discipline, like, what do you tell yourself? Like, what do you like? Yeah, like in the morning, like, what do you tell yourself? Because sometimes, like, you know, like it can be hard, right? I mean, we're human, right? So sometimes it's not easy to wake up, at 6 and hit the gym at 7. So like, what do you tell yourself to keep that consistency and discipline?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I told myself is that the hard work will pay off. Like
Mm,
if you put in the work now, you'll reap the benefits later.
mm,
You know, I'm big into health because I want to live a long life. Like I don't want to have health issues when I'll turn in my 40s, 50s, 60s. I want to still be active. I want to be hiking. I want to go skiing. I want to do all these different activities.
hmm
I don't want to work until I'm 65. I want to retire early. And if I put in the work now, I'll be able to reach that goal. So, I just try to have that mindset. If you put in the work now, you'll reap the benefits later, and that pushes me. So that's been my mindset.
Yeah, the principle of sowing and reaping. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. So you were touching on this a little bit, but how do you maintain your harmony between your um, professional life and your personal well being? It sounds like you're doing a lot, learning a lot, but how do you maintain that harmony in your life?
Yeah, I'd say, in my opinion, work-life balance is critical. I know a lot of people in my network that have burnt out,
Yeah.
and it's just not a good feeling. So I make sure I always make the time for the things that I enjoy and for the people that I enjoy. So, like I
Hmm.
said, working out is important to me. I'm making sure I'm setting, so I put it on my calendar. I block out my calendar in the morning. Like, this is what I'm going to do every single day. I love traveling. I make sure at least once a month, if I'm not flying to another city, I'm at least doing a local trip where I could drive to in Texas. But I'm making sure that I'm making time for myself so that I can travel and do the things that I enjoy. I love
Mm,
concerts, comedy shows.
mm,
So, I'm constantly on my apps and looking like who's coming to town, what shows can I see? So I think I work very hard, but I make sure I play as well. It's a balance of working and playing. And so I'm making sure that I'm doing the things I enjoy and I'm not just solely focused on work because, like I said, you can grind yourself into the ground, and if you're burnt out, then that's not going to be productive for you or for the company. So it's
right.
important to make sure you make time for yourself and for your loved ones. I just got married 3 weeks ago.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But have to make time for my wife. That's not going to be a healthy relationship if I'm just grinding and working all day, all night.
Yeah.
Probably will get divorced in a couple years. So want to make sure I'm allocating time with her and we're
Mm.
enjoying this new threshold that we just crossed. So it's definitely important to have that balance. I'm all for the hard work, but it's important to make sure you spend time with your loved ones and spend time doing the things that you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's well said. And so, is there, well, for those that are looking to transition in their career, like what is like one of the first pieces of advice that you would share with them that are like, what, I think this is the time that I need to make that change and that shift. And so, like, what would you tell them?
I'd say go for it. That's number one. I I've talked to so many people who want to make transitions, and they talk about it, and then they feel kind of pigeonholed. They kind of feel
Mm,
stuck. They've been at the same company or the same industry for 10 years, for 20 years, and they
mm,
feel they're so far in they can't make the transition, and they never even try. They talk about how much they're unhappy in their role and at their company, but because they've been there so long, they don't even wouldn't even apply or even try to interview at another company.
mm,
And so the number one thing I always tell people, if you feel the urge where you're interested in making a transition, a new company, a new industry, make the leap. Don't just talk about it, go for it. You have the capability, you have the skill set, you have the knowledge. You have to at least try. If you're not even
yeah,
going to apply, like like you have to take that first step and at least try. So I'd say that's number one. Number two, I'd say networking. Obviously, I'm
right.
I'm big on networking, but if you know the right people, that can really help with your transition. If you know someone at the
Mm,
company, like I said, someone that can refer you, a referral goes a long way, or someone that can give you interview prep to let you know what's the expectation going into the
mm,
industry.
mhm,
Uh, so I would say network as much as possible. If you don't know someone at the company that you're interested in, you can like go on LinkedIn and try to find somebody that has a connection or 6 degree separation. See if someone in your
mm,
network knows someone at that company. But try to get some connections within that company. Build relationship with recruiters. That can go a long way. And then
mm,
the third piece, if you're switching companies or you're switching industries, try to get that knowledge. Like I said, there are trainings that you can take. There are certifications you can obtain. There are conferences you can attend. So there are
yeah.
newsletters you can sign up for. So make sure that you're getting as up to date as possible on the industry trends and getting knowledge in that company, and that can go a long way in making that transition as well.
Mhm.
So I'd say those three pieces would be very critical.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your practical uh, advice regarding that for people that feel like, okay, I think this is the time I need to make that transition. So, yeah, that's great. So, if you were to hop like on a time machine and meet your 10-year-old younger self, like what would you tell him?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell my 10-year-old self, like, don't stress. Everything's going to work out the way it should. You know,
Mm,
sometimes, especially, the your parents, they have so much expectations of you, and they want you to
mm,
do so many great things. um and when you're a kid, you're like, some of the things that they're expecting you, it seems insurmountable. Like, you want me to become a doctor or a lawyer, or like, like, how am I supposed to do that?
mm,
But I feel like everything happens for a reason. Everything works out the way it should.
mm.
I'm very happy with the life that I've lived. I'm excited to see what the future has in store for me. So yeah, if I could talk to my 10-year-old self, I'd let them know that, hey, everything's going to work out the way that it should.
Yeah, having that piece for the future gives you that confidence for what you have for the future.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Well, that's great. So, uh, if someone is stuck, like in their career, like they feel like it's a lot of risk to change careers, or they just feel like they've plateaued in their career itself, you know, like what would be some things that you could practically, tell them?
Yeah. Um. So yeah, if I feel like you got to challenge yourself. Sometimes you have to
Mm,
get comfortable being uncomfortable.
mm, yeah.
So if you feel that you've plateaued and you're not reaching the role that you expected, or moving as you attended in your career, you have to, you manage your own career. So
Mm,
don't expect, other people, don't expect your manager or your skip level, like, you have to take the risk. And sometimes that may mean stepping outside of the company and doing something completely different, going to a new company, going to a different industry, but
Mm,
challenge yourself. Don't just like do the status quo, because you're you're only going to be unhappy. Like I know, like I said, I know a lot of people who've just stayed in the same role, stay at the same company for years upon years, and they're just miserable. And it's
mm,
like, you have to push yourself. And if you really want to get to that next level and you feel like you've plateaued, learn some new skills, maybe go back to school. I'm a big proponent of getting graduate degrees,
mm.
taking trainings, take certifications, but put in the effort. Don't just stay in that role and be unhappy. Challenge yourself and take the steps so that you can make that jump and make that transition. You'll be a lot happier. Trust me.
Yeah, like you're happy now, and so and so yeah. Let's just examine what you said here briefly about how you encourage graduate degree, and you have your MBA, and so like because sometimes we have this mythos, not us, but maybe some people have mythos, and I've heard this others, where like, we have to get your master's degree to be like a teacher or something like that, and that's the value of it, or something, or but like if someone is wanting to obtain like a master's degree and it's been a while, it's been a while since they've been in school. Like, what would you tell them would be that value to pursue a master's degree?
Yeah, there's a ton of value in pursuing a master's degree. So number one is the network. I mean,
Mm,
that's part of the reason to go back to school, is that you get to build a new network with a new group of people.
mm,
And I mean, my my network from Carnegie Mellon has been incredibly valuable to my success and my ability to
wow.
navigate to different companies, to get
Mm,
opportunity. I'm a motivated speaker.
yeah.
It's opened up the doors for speaking engagements for me.
Oh wow.
Like
That's great.
so. Number one is that network.
Hmm.
I would say number two, there are certain roles that you can't even apply for if you don't have the master's degree, or
Mm,
it's preferred. So there are certain roles that you
mm,
just can't get if you don't have that degree. So if you have certain
mm,
aspirations, certain ambitions, getting that master's degree will help like get your foot in the door for certain roles. And then number three, compensation. You can command a certain level of money by
mm,
having that master's degree. So
mm,
like when I left JP Morgan, everyone said I was crazy. They were like, "Oh, why would you leave JP Morgan? It's a fantastic company." And it is a great company. I loved my experience at JP Morgan,
yeah.
but I went to get my MBA. I spent 2 years at school at Carnegie Mellon to get my MBA. When I graduated from Carnegie Mellon, my salary doubled from what I was
Wow.
making at JP Morgan.
Wow.
So I could have stayed at JP Morgan. They wouldn't have doubled my salary in 2 years. That wouldn't have happened. So
Yeah.
the
Wow.
level of money that you could command is a different level when you have
Mm.
that. So I'd say a combination of those three, that like those are the reasons to go to graduate school. It's a game changer.
Yeah, those are some really great points. And were you working at JP when you were getting your MBA at Carnegie, or how are you
I,
doing that?
I decided to go back to school full time. So
Full
I
time. Wow.
yeah, so I
Okay.
left JP Morgan. That's why I said a lot of people thought I was crazy. Like, oh,
Wow.
you're making good money at a great company. Why would you walk away from it? But I ended up making a lot more money. I transitioned to
Yeah.
another great company with Chevron.
Sure.
So sometimes you just have to take the risk and
Hmm.
believe in
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, was that a financial risk for you to go full time as a student pursuing your MBA? Was that a financial risk for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you're giving up your salary. So you go from making a certain amount of money a year to now I'm not making anything. Now I'm living off student loans. So I
Mm,
can I can pay tuition at Carnegie Mellon's $50,000 a year, and that's just tuition. I still have
mhm.
to pay for an apartment. I still have to eat. I have to buy books. There's so
Right.
many
Right.
costs. So
Yeah. Mm,
I'm not making any money now, and now I've taken out loans to pay for school. So it's definitely a financial risk, but
mm,
sometimes you have to invest in yourself. And what I tell people all the time, think about return on your investment.
Mm,
So yes, I may have to spend $100,000 on school, but now I can get a job where I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because I have that. So if
mm,
you think about the long term, like yes, in the short term, I'm giving up my salary at JP Morgan and I'm taking out loans so that I can pay for school. In the long term, I'm going to be in a role where I'm happier. I'm in a more senior position and I'm making a ton more money. So if
mm,
you think about the big picture,
mhm,
it's worth the risk.
mm. Well, that's very inspiring. I think for someone who wants to, maybe they have a bachelor's right now and they're considering getting their master's, and those are some really that's very inspiring that you have been able to successfully accomplish those during risks.
Yeah.
So how do you measure your personal growth? In your life's journey, how do you fully measure that growth in your life?
Yeah, I would say I'm always looking for ways to continue to grow and develop, whether that's taking trainings, whether that's taking certifications. So
Mm,
I one of the things that has stuck with me when I was at Carnegie Mellon, one of my favorite classes, it was called Managing Intellectual Capital and Knowledge Intensive Businesses.
mm,
And the professor, his name is Dr. Kelly. He's also an author. I've read a bunch of his books.
mm,
But one of the like last projects that we had in his class, he wanted us to think of ourselves as a business and think about our intellectual capital. And he
mm,
said, "Okay, what do you worth today?" And at the time, I had an offer from Chevron, so I said, "Okay, I'm worth this because this is my salary." He's like, "Well, what do you want to be worth in 10 years?
mm,
And how are you going like why are you going to command that much more money in 10 years from what you're worth today?" And it made me think, okay, yes, I'm going to get experience from working and learning on the job, but I have to do something else. If I'm
mm,
expected to command X amount of money in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now, what am I going to do to differentiate myself?
mm,
I'm taking these trainings, I'm obtaining these certifications, I'm attending these conferences, I'm growing my network,
mm,
I'm finding ways to continue to grow and develop, and I'm identifying new mentors, and I'm taking all these different steps so that your career is a journey, and I'm always
yeah,
finding ways to continue to grow and develop. I mean, I'm always doing reflections. So every year I
mm,
set goals for myself of
yeah,
what do I want to obtain, and
mm,
what do I want to learn, and what do I want to grow, and
mm,
I'll reflect, and it's good to celebrate your successes during your growth journey. But it's also good to set new goals, new targets, and continue to push yourself. So
mm,
I'm never complacent. I'm always looking for the next way that I can continue to grow and develop. And
mm.
that's just been my mindset throughout my career.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, so your book, The Power of Networking, can be bought wherever bookstores are sold, right? Especially Amazon.
Yes,
Or sorry, The
absolutely.
Power of Networking. Yes.
Yeah, the power of networking is available on all platforms. If you want the physical paperback book, if you want the audio book, if you want the ebook, it's available on Amazon. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Barnes and Nobles, any platform that you're looking for. So make sure to get your copy. It's a fantastic book. I've heard nothing but great feedback from everybody about it,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear feedback from your audience if any of them buy the book as well.
Sure. Sure. I'm sure some will buy the book for sure. And so yeah. So guys, if you scan that QR code, it will link you right to the Amazon page. And if you want to buy it on Kindle or paperback, or however you like to read your book, do you have it on Audible? I
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
have Audible as
I
well.
think I saw it was Audible. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to, listen to it, scan that link and you can purchase it there. And so yeah, well, this has been a really inspiring conversation with you, Michael, talking about your life journey in uh, how you've harnessed the power of networking in your life and how you've been able to pivot and transition in those various industries and careers successfully. So, what I'm curious, like, what are some of the goals that you have for yourself for the future?
Yeah, I would say I'm working on one of my biggest goals is getting some certifications in cybersecurity. Like I said, I'm
Oh,
new to
right,
the
you're getting that
industry.
certification. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's a big goal for me. I want to get to that director level. So I've been pushing for
Mm.
that. Hopefully it comes sooner than later, but already having discussions with leadership to reach that. And then have a healthy marriage. Like I said,
Mm.
been married fresh for 3 weeks. So this is new for me, and I want to continue to nurture that relationship and make sure things go well with my person. Like I said, everything's a balance. So
Yeah.
I have career aspirations. I have aspirations in my personal life. I want to make sure I have a happy marriage,
Mm.
and then just continue to get more speaking opportunities. I've had
Mm.
a ton of speaking opportunities already this year. Still
Great.
looking at other opportunities for later this year. So continuing to you know explore that journey as a motivational speaker. So I've set a lot of the goals. Are very aggressive, but I know if I put my mind to it, I'll get there. So I'm excited to see what the future has in store for me.
That's great. And so, where can people find you on social media? And I think you have a website too, right?
Yeah. So I have my own website. It's Michael V. Morgan. So V is in Victor, michaelvmorgan.com. So people can feel free to go on the website. They can contact me through the website. There's a contact me form.
Great.
You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. So Michael Morgan PMP because I have my PMP certification. So it's an easy way to find me. Yeah, if anyone in the audience wants to reach out, feel free to do so. I'd love to connect. I'd love to help any way that I can. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to connect with me.
Yeah. So, guys, you heard it. Follow Michael Morgan on his social media and visit his website, and you can learn more about what he is doing and where he's speaking and all that stuff. Or if you want to book a time for him to speak, you can do that on his website. So, is there anything else you want to share before we come to a close?
I'd say the last piece that I like to tell people, everyone's journey is different. I know a lot of people like to compare and look at other people's journeys, and they're like, "Oh,
Mm,
well, I should be at this point in my career. I should be here." Like, hey, everybody has a different journey.
mm,
Don't compare yourself to other people. Follow your path, and set goals for yourself, and you know, you can achieve anything.
mm,
So don't doubt yourself. Don't feel hesitant. Don't feel like you can't make a jump. You can't make a transition from one company to another, or
mm.
one industry to another. You have the skill set, you have the capability. So feel free to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and take that risk. It's going to be worth it. So that's the last piece I'd like to leave people with.
Yeah, those are some great pieces of advice. And so, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this episode for those that just need a greater inspirational boost in their own personal life. This is the episode you need to share with them, with your friends and family, or even colleagues that you know that can inspire them to, achieving goals and kind of, Michael being able to, yeah, raise that standard and learn from him in his journey of life of how he's been able to pivot successfully in his career changes and what he's doing now personally and professionally. So thank you so much, Michael, for being on with Talks with Gallagher.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on your show. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, you shared some really great practical advice. I think people can apply, into their life personally and professionally.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm here to help.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching Talks with Gallagher. To support the future of this podcast, go to talkswithgallagher.com.